Thank you. Is the commission satisfied, or did you want her to go through the agenda statement like she did in our November meeting? I see heads shaking from the commission that they're good. We're going to have thumbs up. Okay. Then at this time, I will open the public comment section of this public hearing item and ask Eric to call on the first speaker that is online.
We had a request from Christy Audette Bagala. So I will ask her on.
Audette or Skinner, I'm going back to your maiden name, Christy, sorry. Your comments, please state your name and your address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought when I spoke before, that's when it was time to speak about the decorating home from the park.
Yes, that was our work session, and we appreciated your comments there, but this is under public hearing and will be part of the minutes for this action item.
Okay. Well, my thoughts are the same, that was a orphanage for children that had lost their parents due to epidemic in the north mostly. And those children were forcibly moved here. They were put in a home. They had their homemates and became friends with the Stewart children. I was one. They were cheerful all the time. You know, if you had gone through such a trauma, I don't know how I would have gone through that. But to me, it would be just almost a crime to turn that place into just some more apartment buildings. It's surrounded by apartment buildings. More to the north, going to be built to the south, and doorway, all single-family homes jammed together with no park area. There's a gravel parking area that has a few, it's supposed to be a park. I don't know what that is. At the south end of doorway, but I never seen the building. So to me, it would be a tribute to the children that had to live there under such awful circumstances, and to not lose that history, to turn it into a park and memorial. I've heard ideas of a dog park and that sort of thing, and the dog park is open space. We don't need any more multi-family housing. Everybody thinks we need more housing, but it's sort of solar. There's lots of empty lots, and there's a lot of multi-family housing. I named them off before: Gateway, Kimberly Court, Pacific Rim, Bayside, Bear Mountain, of course the senior citizen homes. So lots of fourplexes and post-grad housing, Aztec housing. Give the kids a place, and sidewalks. There's no place for kids to walk. I mean, this is just a side, but you know, Gateway subdivision and all these houses up on Delaware, there's no sidewalks for kids to walk. I'm not very coherent, but I guess you get my feel.
Thank you. Next speaker, please, Eric.
We do not have anyone signed up or raising their hand in the attendees.
If you'd like to speak, the public like to speak, please raise your hand. If you're on your phone, you can use *9.
I don't see where I do the hand thing.
And who is that speaking? Cheryl?
Cheryl Cease of Gary Cease.
Well, okay. Cheryl, you can speak as a member of the public under this item. You have 5 minutes. Please state your name and address for the record.
Cheryl Cease, Post Office Box 1971 or 319 Blaine Boulevard. I would just like to support the resolution as written, that it would be zoned parkland. I'm in full support of that. And I absolutely support doing a gazebo or something that we can put memorial to with storyboards that tell about the Jesse Lee home. And that's my input. Thank you for all of your hard work on this. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you, Ms. Thies. Are there any other members of the public wishing to speak at this time? Please raise your hand. Use *9 if you're on your phone, or the raise hand feature on your tech device.
I have Sarah Walker, and Nicole Lawrence will be after that.
Go ahead, Sarah.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi, I'm Sarah Walker. I live outside the city limits. I attended a meeting a couple months ago. I'm with the Hyper Group, and I'm not in support of a park because I've got 2 young kids and they need a place to play indoors. And my dream is to build a child care facility and a daycare and a children's museum. And I think doing something for the kids is like the right way to go. I totally agree with Christy and her comments, but I don't think an outdoor park is what we need. I think what we need is something inside. And that's about it.
Thank you. And then Ms. Lawrence, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Nicole Lawrence. My address is 13246 Bruno Road in West Woods. I feel like there's a lot of great ideas of what the land should be used for, and I'm sure there'll be more discussion. But I think there's a lot of very different ideas of what the land should be used for. My personal opinion is definitely that we should honor the Jesse Lee home and the children that live there. I think, like I said before, it's a very dense area, a housing dense area, so I think it would be wonderful to have some kind of green space park, someplace for people to get together and enjoy the view. I don't know what's best for that. I think, Jackie mentioned before that the city doesn't have the money to build some kind of centers, and that could be a long, long ways off with funding. So I'm not sure exactly what I support with that space, but I do definitely feel that there should be space reserved for preserving the memory of the Jesse Lee home and also some outdoor area. However, on the opposite side of the opinions that have been voiced so far, I also am aware that if part of that land was sold off, it would not necessarily have to be for Section 8 housing. It wouldn't necessarily have to be for large apartment buildings like were drawn up in some of those plans. And when land is sold, it can be used for whatever it's used for. It could be used for single-family homes too. So I guess my opinion is that we should definitely do something to preserve the site and memorialize the Jesse Lee home, but I'm also in favor of the city making some money to sell off some of that land, because 2.6 acres seems like a lot of land for a park in a building that we don't have the money to build right now.
Thank you, Ms. Lawrence. Is there any other member of the public wishing to speak? I see a phone number ending in 035. Is that someone from the public that would like to speak? If so, you can use the *9 feature on your phone. I do not see them unmuting. You'd have to unmute as well. Do you have to unmute there in the City Hall as well?
I hit the button. Oh, there you go. It's unmuted.
Hi, this is Liz. Can you hear me?
Who is this?
Hi, this is Liz DeMoss. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Liz. Please state your name and address for the record. Thank you.
Hi. Yeah, this is Liz DeMoss, and I live inside of city limits. There are a lot of ideas of what to do with the space, and I think that it is important. And it seems like most people want this to remain a green space in a park, like setting or a rec center or something along those lines. And I also think that there are housing issues still for quality single family homes in Seward, but there, I think, could be other areas of land to look at selling off if we want to look at something like that, if we want, to explore the idea of the city selling some land and getting some tax income, back. And it doesn't have to be the Jesse Lee home, land. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think I would support the resolution and changing it to park. I don't see why we wouldn't have to, or why we wouldn't change that from multifamily to park. And and I wanted to thank administration, Jackie and Eric, for everything you did. It looks like you guys did a lot of work on this. And I also wanted to thank Eric and wish him well on his new endeavors. And that's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. DeMoss. And do you see anyone else? I do not see any other rectangles on my screen. Do you have any, Eric?
Yes, I just received one from Tangi Lebrecht. Tongi, sorry. Sorry, Tongi.
Here we go.
Okay.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes, please state your name and address for the record, and you have 5 minutes.
Oh, that'll be short. Tangi Lebrecht, 219 6th Avenue. Just wanted to put my support as well for the park designation. Also understanding there's many things to consider, so whether that's an all park or park, I'm interested to hear part of the conversation that's going on tonight. But I appreciate the discussion and the opportunity to be involved in this discussion, and thank you for all the work that's gone into this. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I know that we have some written comments that you would like to read into the record. I guess we can go ahead and start with that, and if we see anyone else come on, we can ask them to speak then. So go ahead and read into the record. If they've stated whether they're inside or outside city limits, I'd like to add that to the record as well.
So, Madam Chair, one thing, all of these are comments that I believe were read into the record at your November 3rd meeting. I just wanted to have them if you wanted me to reread them into record.
No, if they are in the minutes from the November 3rd meeting, you can just double check that from our minutes and make sure they were. If there isn't any, if there's a missing one, then we'll go ahead and look at that.
Yep, and that, and they all spoke, they were all read at your November 3rd. Yes.
So, one last call for any public. I don't see any. Eric, do you see any? And at that time, I will close the public comment period for Resolution 20-2012 and bring it back to the commission for a motion. If you raise your hand, I'll call on you and you can make the motion. Ms. Hatfield, you're kind of...
Nathaniel is making the motion.
I'll make a motion to approve Resolution 2020-012.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Is that
Who was that
That was
second?
Ambrosiani.
It's great.
Okay, thank you. Motion by Commissioner Charbonneau, second by Commissioner Ambrosiani. So I will open the discussion with the maker of the motion. Mr. Charbonneau, did you have any comments on the item?
Yeah, just one. So if we decide to go ahead and rezone this park, the whole thing, does that affect some of these potential plans here, like the museum or child care center?
To answer that question, if you rezoned it to park or approved it to be rezoned to park this evening, and then, a year down the road, 5 years down the road, a month down the road, somebody came in and presented a concept or a plan, we could, at that time, rezone it to meet those plans and work into a land development agreement.
All right, thank you.
I have a follow-up to staff on that item. What zone is a community center or a child care center allowed in? Are they allowed in any residential zone, or are they, thank you, yeah, pull up your land use plan. And Commissioner Ambrosiani, while she's looking that up, did you have comments to make as a second?
My question was the same as yours and Nathaniel. If a group did raise enough money for a rec center, could it be changed? And if so, what would the land use, what would it need to be changed to?
Could I relax the rules for a minute and ask Sarah Walker, one of our public speakers, a question regarding the HYPER organization that she's a part of? Or is the commission okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Walker, could you unmute? Eric, could you unmute Ms. Walker? And Ms. Walker, your organization, HYPER, would you be looking to purchase property and get funding to build your facility so you would be on your own property?
I don't think that we're interested in purchasing it. I think we'd want to work with the city to somehow lease it or partner with them. But
Okay.
we've developed a website that's going to go up in January, and we're doing another survey, a family survey, to kind of gauge like the need there is, because we did a 2020 survey, and it showed that 78% of the families weren't satisfied with the child care provided in Seward. So we're going to do another survey launch on January 12th, and by then the website is going to be up and running.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, can I answer your question?
Yes, please, go ahead.
So per our land use, civic centers or community centers are allowed in parks by conditional use permit. They're allowed in institutional by conditional use, and they're allowed outright in auto, commercial, and central business districts.
Okay.
Recreation, indoor commercial recreation is allowed outright in auto commercial, harbor commercial, central business district, and resource management.
What about daycare centers?
That's allowed in several residential areas as well.
Child care licensed centers are allowed by conditional use in R3, UR, and institutional. And they're allowed outright in OR and AC. And then a home child care is allowed outright in all residential uses.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'll ask the commission if they have any other questions. Commissioner Hatfield, are you raising your hand?
Yes, I was. I have some concerns with rezoning the whole thing as a park, and not because I do think, like, I'm hoping we can do a memorial and all that, but rezoning all 2.66 acres as a park and currently will yield us nothing for many years, it sounds like. I think the city is coming up on the next few years being underfunded because of taxes and stuff in the pandemic. I think we're going to look at an empty lot for the next few years. I also saw from everybody's comments from the survey, we've probably overdone the low income and affordable apartment housing. 74 units, studio apartments have gone in the last 2 to 3 years. And so I'm looking at, maybe we need more single family homes that are affordable. There's got to be some way we can use this property and maybe do, by my rough calculations, if a little over an acre would give us 15 town site lots, if we sold those at $30,000 to $35,000, it would bring in almost $500,000. if we could earmark that money for something on the other part, on the other 1.6 acres to make a memorial or an indoor play area or something like that, that might solve the money problem. But moving forward and just like rezoning it as a park to sit there because we have no money to do anything with it, I don't know, is concerning to me.
Commissioner Swan.
Yeah, I kind of have a feeling kind of the same way in that, for one thing, it's more difficult from a public's point of view to change from park back to R3 or any of the other long zones that will allow you to do other things with the property. And also, I think we're a little bit ahead of ourselves on this subject in that we don't know how much money is left over from the money to demolish the building. If I understand it correctly, the idea is the building needs to be demolished, cleaned up, and the leftover money needs to be used for a memorial. And I would think that it would make a lot more sense to hold off on this decision completely until we know how much money is available now for a memorial. And from that point of view, I would like to make a motion that we postpone Resolution 2020-12 until the demolition has been completed.
Second.
All right, there's a motion by Commissioner Swan, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Is the timeline of when the demolition is completed and the money calculations completed, is just demolition completed enough to know what money's left? No. So when the demolition process is completed.
Yeah, Madam Chair, the reason this is brought forward in the timeline, and I understand that the commission thinks that we are rushing things, but we have a deadline of spend all money by the 30th of June. So in order to move things properly in the direction that we need to keep a timeline going, because we were delayed with the demo, we are pushed back at least another month to 2 months. So pushing it ties it up on our end where if we have money left over and we have to build a memorial, by code, a memorial has to be in a park. And so we have the possibility of losing whatever funds are left to build said memorial because we don't have a designated area to build the memorial through the state's eyes.
I had a question regarding the 6-week delay that was part of the objection by the Friends of the Jesse Lee Home. Couldn't we ask that Department of Commerce and Economic Development to give us an additional 6 weeks at the end of this money use? And you're shaking your head no.
It's already been addressed and asked. Like it's one of these that if the money's not spent, it will be put back into the budget of the state.
Okay, I saw Commissioner Swan's hand raised, and then I'll go to Commissioner Hatfield. Go ahead.
Commissioner Ambrosiani has his
With
hand
that
up.
additional information, I'd like to rescind a motion. Can I
Okay.
get that?
Does the second agree with the motion to rescind?
I guess I just had a question. It seems like everyone seems to be in agreement to have some sort of like placard or something like that that tells about the history of the Jesse Lee Home. By when you say we have money to build a memorial, it doesn't sound like we're going to have much left. If we spent that money to make the placards, but we didn't put them up yet, is that something? Or they say like we have to use that money and you have to see a finished product? So if we have $10 left over, we have to spend that $10 to make a finished product. I know that's a little excessive, but like even if we had $1,000 left over, we're probably not going to make a finished product with whatever's left over.
We would have to show it has to be spent. It would be something that if we had $1,000 or $10 and a design was designed and done, we would put that to it and then state that we were, you know, the city or whatever was putting into to finish the completion of it.
Commissioner Hatfield, do you agree to rescind the motion?
Yeah.
That's where, okay. All right, Commissioner Ambrosiani, you had your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. My thing was really, would there be, if we do go with park, could there be things built on there that would hold us back from building things in the future? What could be put on the property if it's designated park? Could any permanent structures be built on that property?
I believe a pavilion could be built on that property, a toilet facility could be built on that property, and probably amphitheater could be built on that property.
A parking lot.
Parking lot could be there, but the residential buildings could not, that were in the concept.
Yeah.
You know, I'm gonna, you know, speak my mind here, and I was coming into this, and I kind of compromised myself throughout the work session in this meeting. My recommendation was that we replat the property and make .66 into a memorial park and either rezone the other 2 acres to some residential determination, R2, duplexes, fourplexes. But I'm kind of now leaning towards, after listening to Commissioner Hatfield's calculation about an acre, so that we don't have to replat, we could change the 1.66 to a park and the east 1 acre lot to an R2. And that's kind of where I'm leaning, and I'd like to hear some comments from the commission on that. Commissioner Hatfield?
That's kind of what I was leaning towards too, except I'm just listening to what the public said, and a lot of people were kind of upset about the density that was in that area already, and I feel like maybe making that 1 acre single-family residential would solve all people's concerns about the B and Bs, I think, in some regards. It would give people the ability to build small family homes, and it would, you know, I don't know how we can do this, because I would like to, like, earmark that money for the development of the park so we can get everything that we want, essentially, but I don't know if we can do that and make that money not go into the general fund. But I would lean towards single-family homes just because I think we have so many apartments and duplexes and triplexes already in there. That area is pretty dense as it is.
I'll follow up on that comment. I spoke to a realtor today that stated that they've shown some property up in the area around those apartments, and that the people have kind of shied away from single-family homes surrounded by apartment complexes. That's why I recommended that R2, a duplex. Somebody could afford to build a duplex and hopefully rent out half of it and pay their mortgage, and it wouldn't be quite as dense as a apartment building, but more affordable for a starter home.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Swan, I signed up.
Yeah, I had a couple comments on that. Yeah, I had a couple comments. You know, on the idea that one of the things I heard a lot from the public was a pavilion, and I know the pavilion down by the waterfront gets used a tremendous amount. And even if regardless, if you build some kind of a public use facility on that property, being a pavilion or a care center or something like that, because of the high density around it, I think you'd want to have all the rest of the space around there as used as a buffer and parking and just, I think you'd want to have that space. So trying to take and cut it down to, you know, half the size and then filling up the other half with more apartments, I think is probably not the, I'd be shying more toward leaving it all one unit if you're going with a pavilion or something where you're going to have public use. The other comment I was going to comment on was Commissioner Hatfield's comment on the single-family homes. I mean, I think that calculation was made by just taking the square footage and making lots. I don't think a road and utilities were included in that. So if you try and take half that property, you're not going to get 18 houses. You're going to get half that many because you still have to put a road in, and you still have to do some of the other things. So I just wanted to clarify that number when somebody starts looking at the size of the uses. But anyway, that was my comment on let somebody else talk now.
Commissioner Ambrosiani?
Yeah, I agree a little bit with Tom that is, to me, it seems like that's one of the highest density living areas in our community. And I don't think we need to make it increase the population there. I think we need to increase, recreational space for the people that are there, and it's already developing even more. I just really see with the kids in our community, they don't, at this time of year, they really don't have anywhere to go. I mean, if they can't go to the schools to recreate, there is nowhere for them to go. And if we did have a rec center where we could put on events, if we had a pool where we could put on events, we could bring in more business in the off season, and we could have stuff for our kids to do in the winter months also, when there really isn't much for them to do. And it wouldn't just be for the kids that are kids today, it'd be kids in the future. Be more families wanting to come here and live here because there's stuff for their kids to do. Right now, it's a real challenge.
I don't think if we left it all park, we could build one of those facilities that you're mentioning on a park, on a designation of park. I think it would have to be, was it auto commercial, which I really don't want to go there. What other areas was it? I'm going to write them down this time.
Are you talking a civic center or a recreation center?
I was thinking of a community-owned recreation center.
Okay,
Which
so
would be
a
like a
community.
gymnasium and pool.
Okay, so a community center, because that would have gymnasiums and things in it, and the ability to be used for multi-functions. Per our code, they are allowed outright in auto commercial and central business district, and they are allowed by conditional use permit in institutional and parks.
And park?
Yes.
So it could be done in park with a conditional use permit.
Yes.
I think I could go along with that. That would be great.
Thank you, thank you. Eric, did you have a?
Yeah,
is there
Commissioner
some-
Charbonneau raised his hand, but nobody could see him but me.
Yes,
I
okay.
was gonna say, in regarding that east lot, with talk about, there is that power line easement through it too. So when you think about potentially using that for something else, there's that large easement that couldn't be used. So that's something to keep in mind.
Okay. I'm gonna bring this up, and I hesitate to, but if this all goes to park, it stays off the tax rolls. Just FYI.
It's off the tax
So,
rolls
Andy-
right now.
Yes, because it's city-owned property,
Yes.
and it would stay city-owned property as a park. If we did a section that we could sell off to a daycare center or whatever, then that section would be on the tax roll.
But the sale of the property would be a decision of the council, correct?
Yeah, we're an advisory capacity to the council. We aren't making any final decisions tonight.
Yeah, I just
Or
wanted to
suggest-
put that,
Ron.
I just wanted to make sure that that was part of the record, that they understood, anybody that's listening understood that it would be a decision, not of planning and zoning, but a decision of council to sell land.
Right. I see that the person ending in 035 is unmuted, and I'm telling them right now that we are done with the public comment on this. There will be an opportunity for you to speak again at the end of the meeting. Okay, commissioners, the motion on the table right now is the original motion to change the whole 2.66 acres from R3 to park. I'm going to throw out an amendment, and I'm going to see where it lands. And I'm going to amend the resolution to change it from multifamily residential to .66 acres park, 2 acres R2.
Madam Chair, point of order, I'd like to point out that we would not be able to change that as an amendment tonight because of the public hearing. It would have to be noticed to change the acreage. We'd have to notice that. We'd have to go back out to public hearing. Tonight, this is just to, we can't amend what part without letting the public know.
We can amend titles. We can amend titles. And you're saying we can't amend the title of a resolution.
Well, you're changing it in a larger scope. If you're changing it to amend it to read better, to do better, yes, we can do that, but we cannot change the scope of what, I mean, this resolution is to do all 2.66 acres. If you choose to change us or have us change that designation to 1.66 acres, then we would have to bring another resolution forward with those changes. Because it's not giving the citizens the ability to input. There tonight, their input is on the 2.66 acres being rezoned to park. If we want to change that, then we would need to renotice it.
I have a motion on the floor, and if I don't have a second, then it'll die for lack of a second. So I'm going to give it just a second, and I see no seconds, and I will call on Commissioner Swan. I saw you had his hand up.
Yeah, I'll just take, my feelings on this, when we first started this project, I think I was right down the line with what Cindy was bringing up. But after listening to the number of citizen comments and the amount of people that responded about having open space and park, and then Commissioner Ambrosiani's point about having an area available if sometime in the future an organization wanted to build a community center, having a piece of land in town that we've already kind of said, this is a great place for something like that to be. We don't have any money, but we kind of said this is a good thing. Just leaving it that for the time being. I'm really have changed my mind on the whole thing, and I kind of like the resolution as it reads now. It's turning the whole thing into park. And if something comes up in the future and somebody comes up with an idea saying if we sell half this land and use that money to build something and the community is in favor of that at that time, those are things that we can always change again. So at this point in time, to expedite the process, especially because of the money that's got to be spent by June, I am very much in favor of just passing this resolution as is.
I understand now that the title can't be changed, but I don't think there's going to be any money left over to spend by June. So I'm going back to your first amendment, or your first motion to, wait on this, because, I'm a little concerned about the survey. I'm really interested in hearing what happens when it goes to council and the public comments that are made to the council, and how they vote on it. But, so we have a motion on the floor. Did I hear somebody speak in the background that wanted to speak? Commission, were you speaking? Kelly?
You're muted, Kelly.
I just have a quick question. If we leave it as multifamily, what are the chances that it gets sold as multifamily? Like, what happens to it if it stays like this? I feel like if we change it to park, it's a little bit protected, but if we leave it as multifamily, can the city council decide to, like, sell it?
That's what the current recommendation is in the municipal land plan, is to
Okay.
sell it or let it go to a developer that has a good, solid development plan with a reverter clause.
So rezoning it to park then would essentially save it for some future project for the community.
Yes. Okay, at this time, I guess it's time to take a roll call vote on the main resolution as printed in the packet and advertised.
Resolution 2020-12, rezone of the Jesse Lee property, Hatfield.
Yes?
Swan,
Yes.
Cease,
Yes.
Charbonneau,
Yes.
Ambrosiani,
Yes.
Chair Eklund.
No.
That motion is passed.
Thank you. That takes us on down the agenda. We have no business items requiring a public hearing. We have no unfinished business. Under new business, we have 9A to set a work session topic for December 15th, which I got a call from the planning department asking if we could have a regular meeting, special meeting for some items that didn't get publicly noticed for tonight. So are we going to have both? Go ahead and explain, administration.
Madam Chair, if the commission wants to have a work session, we can do like we did this evening, having a work session from 6 to 7 and then a regular meeting, a special meeting at 7 o'clock. Or we can just do a meeting at 7 o'clock on the 15th. It is to the commission's discretion.
Did we determine if we would have a quorum on the 15th yet?
We had 4 that said yes.
We were
Four?
told 4,
Okay.
yes.
Yes.
Okay. So a couple of the work session topics that we have on our plate are the painted crosswalks. We were coming up with application for that. I don't think we've covered that, have we?
Yes, ma'am, we've already
Within-
covered that and a draft is done. It just needs to be brought forward to be approved.
In a regular meeting?
Yes, ma'am.
But it's not on the agenda for that special meeting.
No, the special
Okay.
meeting is only for the conditional use permits and the variance.
Okay. So what other work session topic, did we ever get a work session topic on how our nightly lodging survey went and how the numbers were this year, something that we can actually look at?
We don't have that we wouldn't have that ability to get that together for you by the 15th.
Okay, so what do you recommend as a work session topic?
We can discuss there's been multiple decisions and recommendations to discuss our definitions in our code. The 13 different definitions of dwelling
Logic.
and lodging, and working on that portion of the code would be a wise choice. And then we can also work on accessory dwelling units was also one that was brought up to discuss the ability of having those in the city.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead, and for those 4 of you that said you would be able to be at that meeting, which of those would you like to discuss, or would you not want a work session prior to a regular scheduled meeting? Commissioner Hatfield, I see you're unmuted.
I would be happy just to have a regular meeting and skip the work session if everybody else is okay with that.
Who else is going to be available on the 15th?
I'm going to be available.
I am.
Both, Tom, you said you were?
No, Nathaniel.
Yeah, I'll be remote.
You'll be remote. Nathaniel, you'll be available?
Yeah, I'll be available. And if we have something pressing to talk about, I feel like we should just squeeze it in and get some extra work done. But that's up to the planning department. I'm more willing to talk about whatever you guys would like to get done.
Okay. Commissioner Cease, are you available?
Yes, I'm available. I shared that with Eric.
Did you prefer either topic, the definitions or accessory dwelling units?
Doesn't make any difference to me. Discuss what you want.
Commissioner Swan?
Yeah, I think the accessory building is probably going to be a pretty significant topic, and a December meeting I don't think would be a good time to have that topic.
Okay. How about definitions then?
I'm fine with definitions.
Okay. Commissioner Ambrosiani, you were not going to be available at that meeting?
No, I'll be traveling. I won't be available.
Okay. All right. So I have 1, 2, 3, and I'm okay with the work session. So we'll have a work session at 6 on the 15th with the topic of definitions with regard to dwellings, lodging, all those apartments, everything that's in our list of definitions that we can hopefully clarify a little better. All right. The minutes are 9B, approval of the regular meeting minutes. And I just pulled them because as I was reading them, I know we discussed the survey, but there's no mention that we gave direction to do a survey, which I think we did. We just postponed it to a December 2020 meeting. Did someone, I know Jessica was at that taking minutes. Did we miss something then, Eric?
Yeah, we must have. I'll go back and look at that, and we can add in that we were directed to do a survey along with that postponement.
Yeah, and I believe the community development director was on the phone and made comment that she would do the survey, and that's what she did, but there's like no mention of it in here, and it might be a moot point, but otherwise I think it gives more credence to your survey if it's in the minutes.
Okay.
And so I guess we need to make a motion then, or are you going to bring the whole minutes back to us at the next meeting?
We'll
bring them back?
We'll
Okay.
bring them back.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us then to the informational items and reports. Is there anything of note in there that you wanted to bring forward? And I see Ms. Wild shaking her head no. So that takes us to commission comments, and after that will be citizens for anyone still on there. So commission comments, and Commissioner Ambrosiani?
No comments. And thank you, staff. You guys did a lot of work pulling that survey together. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Charbonneau?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the staff for all this wonderful work they did, and then wish Eric good luck on his future endeavors.
Thank you.
Commissioner Swan?
I would like to thank staff for putting together this Zoom meeting. I think it worked quite well.
Commissioner Hatfield? Unmute?
Yep. Yeah, congratulations everybody on the Zoom meeting. It went pretty well, and thank you for all of your hard work. I appreciate it.
Commissioner Cease, I don't see you. Are you still there? Okay, Cheryl, you'll have to speak at this time. It's a commissioner comment.
We have an emergency. He's run outside.
Okay, so no comment from Commissioner Cease. And I'd just like to thank the IT department, the clerk's department, the development department for getting us moving in a Zoom meeting process, and I hope that we can continue and get smoother every time. And so at this time, I will take us to the citizens' comments. If you are online and would like to have your 5 minutes on any topic, please unmute or raise your hand. I see two of our past commenters, Christy Skinner and Sarah Walker. Would either of you raise your hand if you'd like to speak?
Christy has her hand raised.
Christy Skinner, go ahead. Please unmute her, Eric. Thank you.
Thank you. I want to thank the commission for being thoughtful and considering all the options. It gives me hope. And also I want to thank the person who typed out all the comments from all the people who had thoughts on it also. That was a lot of work. I appreciate you.
Thank you, Ms. Skinner. Commissioner, or I see Ms. Cease would like to speak under public comments, citizens' comments. You'll have to unmute yourself, Ms. Cease.
I apologize. I just wanted to thank you commissioners for all of your effort and energy and time. And I want to thank staff for all the work that you've done. And I want to thank Eric as well.
Thank you.
And Ms. Walker, did you want to have additional comments at the end here under citizens' comments?
We have
Raise your hand.
Tangi.
Tongi
Sorry.
LeBret would like to speak.
Okay, Mr. LeBrecq, go ahead. Unmute. Mr. LeBrecq, you haven't unmuted yet. *9 if you're on your phone. Unmute. We still can't hear you, Mr. LeBrecq. *6 to unmute on your phone. Okay. I'm going to go back to Ms. Walker. Has she raised her hand at all, Eric, that
No.
you see? No? And Mr. LeBrecq still has his hand up?
Yes, he's just still not unmuted.
Am I unmuted now?
There he is.
Yes,
Am I
you are.
unmuted now? Sorry about that. Congratulations to Eric. Yes, thank you to staff. Thank you so much to commissioners for all of your thoughtful process and for listening to comments from the public and making this recommendation. I know it's hard to really balance in our future economic interests as well as that of the public. I know that's a real challenge, but we appreciate that, and also recognizing that the Jesse Lee home and that site really holds a special place in our history. So I understand your difficult decisions, and I appreciate the decision that you came to. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll give Ms. Walker one more chance, and then I'll bring it back to Commission Administration response. Okay, I see Ms. Wild with her hand up.
I just wanted to comment to the community and the commission that the whole month of December, we're working with IT to try to have every meeting via Zoom. And so our meeting on December 15th will be a virtual meeting also. And I look forward to making that a clear and concise meetings every time through Zoom.
Commissioner Swan, you're not, no? Okay. I would also like to thank you for the Zoom. With the surge in the virus, it's nice to be sitting here in my own living room and helping conduct city business and helping the council make these tough decisions. And Eric, whatever's next for you, I hope you are happy.
Thank you.
And any other commission comments? All right, I will take him up. Are you waving goodbye, Eric, or did you have something?
I'd just like to say thank you all for opening your city to me, and it's been an experience here, and I won't forget it. Thank you.
Thank you. At this time, I will take a motion for adjournment.
I'll make a motion
I'll
to
make a
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Nathaniel and Tom. So moved. We are adjourning at 8:05. Good night, all.